release irritation and worry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I did say to Moira, as soon as I say release irritation and worry, I think of people. Who's irritating me? Went straight to who do I need to release?
That's funny.
So, Moira, I'll let you kick this one off. Where are you at with what? Oh, grab your pen and paper, people, or pencil and paper.
Yes, taking some notes.
Yeah, because there are going to be some goodies. So, release irritation and worry.
So, I'd say, and you already said it or alluded to it, the first step is to acknowledge and accept that you are. We all experience occasions where we get irritated, upset, discombobulated, pissed off, and that we worry.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
I am good to go today because this is an exciting one.
But of course.
Of course. Welcome to our deliciously motivated mindset conversation with Debz and Moira. I'm Debz.
And I'm Moira.
And that's Moira. So if you've listened to us before, you know that the most challenging part of the whole conversation is when we start. This is my theory.
That's what she thinks.
That's what I think. What we do is we actually gauge our awareness of where we're sitting in this world right now.
In this universe.
On a scale of 0 to 10. And 10 is a chaotic place, frazzled, your internet's working, this not working, this podcast is jumping, you're not hearing everything, you've got a glitch in your ear, you've got a glitch in your body.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of crazy stuff, or as the Kardashians call it, cray-cray going on. Moira's like, who?
Cray-cray stuff.
Yeah, the cray-cray stuff. So that's a 10. And then there's, and for the those who don't know my accent, that's a New Zealand accent, and 10 is between a 9 and 11. Okay.
Good that we've got subtitles there, just in case.
Just in case. And then there's a 0, and a 0 is just the. I know, even just saying 0, my whole shoulder is instantly relaxed. A 0 is a beautiful space to be. That we're aiming to be, even though you cannot be there 24/7.
Nope.
But it's a beautiful space to be, just to let that go. So we rate ourselves now, we rate ourselves halfway through, and we rate ourselves at the end. And the purpose of our podcast today is to bring you closer to the 0, if not the 0, and keep you there as long as you can with inspiring tips to help you deal with what's going on around you.
Yep.
So, which today is we're talking about releasing irritation and worry.
Yep, this is a goodie.
So Moira and I give you our numbers as well. We're pretty transparent, and a few times, or more than a few times, I've gone backwards towards the 10. So my list has got incredibly long. So do not fear if you start with a number, and you can't stuff it up. That's the other thing. There is no perfect number to start with. There's no perfect number to end with. It's just perfect for you.
Yeah. Just telling yourself the truth. Giving yourself a wee check-in and giving yourself space to just be real with yourself. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's it. It. So Moira, I don't even know what number I am now I say that. What number are you?
I'm going to put myself at 2. However, prior to coming on this call, I would
Oh,
have
yeah.
put myself at a 7.
It's literally going to say, I bet you're a 7.
Yep. I had some chaotic, crazy making, discombobulated stuff happening. And it put me at a 7, I'm sure. But this is the thing about assessing ourselves, because I think telling myself the truth, that's where I am, and then dealing with what I had to. Like I said, I'm sliding down that scale towards that 0, but I'm putting myself at 2.
I think our first tip we usually give is acknowledge and accept.
Yes.
And that's exactly it for this here is, okay, I'm a 2. Let's just say I'm a 2.
Yep.
I could be a 2.5. Well, I'm actually a 1.5. And the reason I said, oh, I'm a 2, and then I went, no, I think you're a 1.5. And then my mind goes into overdrive. I'm like, well, am I a 1.5 or are you a 1? Or are you a 2.5? And I'm like, no, I'm a 1.5. So I wrote 1.5 down to cement it on the piece of paper to go, now we can carry on, Deborah. Like, it's no.
Just let it all go.
Do not spend too much time on choosing a flipping number.
Yep.
So I'm a 1.5. Moira's a 2. Let's see how we go at the end. Put your number in the chat in the
on our Facebook page,
because it's great to go, oh, that's where I was, in case you just want to change it halfway through, which you're going to do anyway. So our topic today, our conversation today is release irritation and worry. Oh, and I did say to Moira, as soon as I say release irritation and worry, I think of people who's irritating me. Went straight to, who do I need to release?
That's funny.
So, Moira, I'll let you kick this one off. Where are you at with what? Oh, grab your pen and paper, people, or pencil and paper.
Yes, taking some notes.
Yeah, because there are going to be some goodies. So, release irritation and worry.
So, I'd say, and you already said it or alluded to it, the first step is to acknowledge and accept that you are. We all experience occasions where we get irritated, upset, discombobulated, pissed off, and that we worry. So, and actually it's really fun that we're talking about this today, because we have just experienced a new moon in the sign of Libra, which is all about balance and in a communication way. So it's about balancing your inner and outer communication. Because I don't know about you, Deb, but irritation you can stuff it inside and then put a mask on and pretend I'm fine. I'm not irritated or upset or
fine.
Yes. Fine. Using the F word. That's that F word. I'm fine. That's a really unhealthy level of irritation that I think really needs to be released, because
if you keep it at that level, that's going to irritate more.
Yeah, but it's also going to attract other things to irritate you, right? Because that's the vibe you're putting out. You think you put a mask up, but your energy body is prickly and irritated, and right. So it's almost like going around with a short fuse.
Yeah.
Like, what else is gonna?
And it does get yeah. I was just thinking what it reminded me of is the squeaky wheel. I've got a squeaky chair.
So she has to squeak it.
It's a rocket to prove it. That's why I'm sitting on an angle, in case Moira goes, why are you sitting on that angle? She probably can't tell because I'm too scared to move it. But the thing is, and you oil it and you think you've got it right, and then you sit on it, yep, all good. You jump on your podcast and the little bugger squeaks again. You're like, come on. This is those irritating things. These are the little things that, even though you think you've handled them sometimes, you've done the best you can, squeak, little comes back again. You're like, come on. And and when it comes back, it comes at the most inconvenient time ever. That is the nicest way of putting it.
Yep.
The most inconvenient.
Well, like you say, you're right in the middle of a podcast or a Facebook Live, and all of a sudden, oh, there goes.
I've mastered it now that I sit on an angle for my Facebook lives, but I do not move. Like, I'm like, you don't move. You move some of your top part. And I'm like, yeah, because I got a squeaky chair. And do you know how many times I've tried to do this? I just probably better just to sell it and get another one or give it to somebody else. Gift the squeaky chair to someone else's problem.
Too funny.
So it does come about. That irritation does come about if you do not deal with it 100%.
Yeah.
It just comes at the moment.
It'll come up. It'll come up again. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, the thing that I was thinking of when you were describing the squeaky chair thing is to not take it personally. Sometimes people can get, why does this always happen to me? Like, oh, I oiled it just yesterday. I put WD-40 on it or something. And then there it goes again. And so then it's like, what's wrong with me? Why did I attract that? And
why can't I just fix a goddamn chair? It's so simple. Yeah, simple. Go buy a new one, which not necessarily will help.
Exactly. But you see, this is where I'm coming from, is that sometimes it can, and actually I just realized that can actually then settle into a sense of self-worth. How come I always attract these chaotic, irritating situations?
Well, it is. And it's like, it's your energy. And I was talking to someone recently and I said that if you're employed, you're more likely to get a job than someone who's applying for everything and desperate, because it screams.
Yes.
They may not see it, but it screams to other people that they're desperate.
Yep.
And no one wants to hire on desperation. Just saying, if you're going for a job interview, you need to talk to Moira and
Moira and I, and Deb and you.
Yeah, all our personalities behind us. But but it is that personally thing that just can spiral, and it's attracted. So people just go, oh, there's a weak person, or some people are more intentional than others. Let's pick on them. I was actually oh no, I won't go in that conversation. I'll shut that one down. I just realized, no, that's not a podcast conversation.
We can talk about that when we're not recording, maybe. But what you were just saying, and we talked about this before, Deb, is the switching yourself from desperation to inspiration. So if you are feeling desperate or irritated about something, for instance, number one, you have to tell yourself the truth. It's what it is. You accept it. You acknowledge it. You accept it. You don't try and run away from it. Yeah. And then it's by that acceptance, this just is what it is. Then you can look at, how can I release some of this tension? How can I recalibrate my own energy and take a step, even if it's the tiniest of baby steps, towards or in the direction of what it is I want to manifest or create or experience or be, right?
Yeah.
And when we show up that way, it's actually much more inspired way. And our intuition will always guide us, but we need to let go and allow it to do that.
Well, see, when you acknowledge and accept, it is that baggage just drops.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, right. And you cannot get to the next level unless you acknowledge it and accept it. Now, I'm not saying you have to agree with it. There's definitely that level of acceptance is, oh, well, I don't agree with it. I'm not accepting that. Okay. Doesn't matter whether you agree with it or not. Right now is just accept it and go, okay, it is what it is, right?
That's right.
Now I can work through it. But if you do not acknowledge and accept our two AA things, step one, if you do not acknowledge and accept, you're not going to get to level 2, because the further down the levels of the tips, you're going to have to go back and acknowledge and accept it, because that's what ultimately is going to give you the greatest result.
Yep. But the other part too, when we go into non-acceptance of something, like we become rigid. No, I'm not going to accept that. I refuse to. I think that when we do that, we resist that, it becomes bigger and louder. You know that there's a saying is what you resist persists. Right? So if
you run away from cases,
yes, it does. It gets louder. It keeps bonking you on the shoulder or smacking you on the head. So that to me is that's why it's so important to get into that acceptance, is, okay, I'm just going to say it is what it is, breathe it through, and know that that's the best way to flow. Because,
Yeah.
Sometimes for myself, this is a personal story of mine. When I start feeling these layers of irritation and worry, because we all do, right? I'm being really transparent, and
Yeah.
we all go through it, right? But there comes a point where I have to pause and say, I think I just need to walk away from this situation for a moment. I need to get a bit of a bigger picture perspective. Remember, don't take things personally. It's not showing up for me because just to piss me off or just to irritate me, right? It's showing up to say, what is mine to deal with and what is mine to surrender or let go or flow in a different way or do a course correct or say thank you. I appreciate that this has made me slow down and really look at, what is the right thing to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I'm going back to that don't take things personally, because I think, well, that's the 4 agreements, as we know.
Yes, we know.
Yeah. But it is really important. And even though people go, yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, but
he always is mean to me. He's always doing this. He's this or she's always that. And it's like, so that they just wake up every day and they just want to hurt me. It's like, no,
yeah,
it's their own stuff. You just happen to be walking in front of them.
right.
It's like, that's all it is. Like, and it is that don't take things personally. And it can be a challenge to not take things personally, because it could be the same stuff over and over to you, for you, at you, whatever you want, like directed at you. And yes, you can say, oh my God, this is 10 times the same thing's happened to me. Like people talk about cheating in a relationship. And I always say dabbling outside the relationship is my wording of it. And people say, oh, the last 5 partners have cheated on me. Oh, how can I not take it personally? It's like, okay, so it's still their stuff, but what are you doing? Acknowledge and accept it, and then look at you. So just because your last 5 people have dabbled outside the relationship, you can't take it personally.
Nope.
Like it's their stuff as well. So what are you doing? Let's look at you. And it's really I'm going to say a challenging one to look at. If you're sitting in a 10 state, will be the nice. If you're sitting in that frazzled state, just know that you are not going to get out of that frazzled state until you acknowledge and accept.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to look at anything clearly until you open your eyes. Like you can't see that the sun's shining or it's dark outside or anything until you actually choose to open your eyes and look.
Yeah. So in that case, you would need to reach out for some support or help to help you come down closer. Yeah. Like maybe even if you just got yourself down to like a 5, then you're going to be able to. But do you know something that I thought of when you were describing that is, and I've shared this with you before. This is a quote that I can't remember who said it, but somebody.
No way. That's not like you. Yeah. What's going on?
But I use it a lot because it really resonates with me, and it kind of supports what you were just saying, Deb, about what is it that's pissing me off in you that I can't see in me.
Yeah.
Because and that what triggered that was you saying, oh yeah, but they always do this, and oh, he does this, and she, yeah, but wait, what is that? What are those? Because they can be little red flags and little mirror pieces to say there's something that's like that within you that you're not facing, or you're not telling yourself the truth, or you're not accepting, or you're not acknowledging, right? I think that's a really important piece to, if you find yourself getting irritated, that you kind of go, wait, have I taken a bunch of things personally, or have I missed something within me? Right?
Yeah. I love that. I love that because it is, and everybody is a reflection of you.
Yeah.
And the gracious way I could probably say it is when I first started doing my business, all I was getting was relationship clients. People want to talk to me about relationships, intimate relationships, and I was like, oh God, I'm done with intimate relationships. I'm single now. I don't want one. And And I couldn't figure out for that first year, I was literally all intimate relationships. And it was doing my head in, because I was like, I want to do business, I want to do finance, I want to talk wider stuff, bigger stuff, bigger than intimate relationships, because I thought intimate relationships were so small. And I spoke to my mentor, who was John DeMartini, and he said, have you resolved every single intimate relationship you've had? And I said, of course. And, when you say of course that quickly,
yes,
might be a little bit of ego jumping. Of course. And he went, have you? And I went, okay. And he said, when you're just attracting it to show you all your disowned parts.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, I don't want that. And he said, if you truly want to evolve, and that his wording was more gracious than mine as I'm putting it to you, if you truly want to evolve, you must own all those disowned parts that you are avoiding and running from.
Right.
And so I started, and then all of a sudden my intimate relationships that I had, even though I wasn't seeing anybody again, it just changed, and my whole world just changed. And then I got more business in, and then I'm like, oh, okay, so they've got a problem with their business, whatever. Then it's actually a reflection of me, what's going on. And it just really helped me understand who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, getting paid clients was genius, because it was telling me these are all your disowned parts that you're avoiding, and you're attracting them into your world. And I had a different level of understanding of who I was as a person, thanks to my clients. And so these people are there to show you those disowned parts. They're there so don't run from them. And I guess, that's actually another step, is don't rush into anything. Don't rush into any steps. So to release your irritation and worry, there's clearly steps that we're giving you and acknowledge, accept, but don't rush into them. Like definitely do it, but don't do it out of that desperation. Don't go, I've got to get this done today because tomorrow I've got this. No, just trust the process and go through that. Don't rush.
Don't rush. But that part of, I got to get it done right now, that can be the worry part. Like we really focused on irritation, but
we've done the worry. Yeah,
the worry part
from sleeping and makes you too much or not enough,
but it kind of conditions us to say there's not enough time. I don't have enough time, so I have to hurry up. I have to take care of this right now. Whereas I remember listening to a talk by Deepak Chopra where he was really encouraging people to stop using that whole thing about running out of time or not enough time, because we have all the time in the world. I actually have a really good friend she's a yoga teacher, and that's what she used to love, going around saying, so little to do and so much time.
I like that quote.
I think that's an awesome one. Maybe we should sort of bring some of that in, because that in itself will undo worry, right? Because
it is just those little reframing of words. That little reframing, is perfect, because it is just that reframing of that. Because as soon as you say that, you
giggle, and you lighten up. Your energy lights up. But the other thing that I've always said and believed, even though I fall trap of it myself, is that worry is putting our attention on what we don't want to have happen. So what we're doing, we're feeding it, we're making it bigger, right? So
there's a quote, I love these. There's certain things I like about social media, and one of them was something about the rent in your.
Yeah.
You'll know it.
It's something about allowing people to take up space in your mind rent free.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is true. And then if you put all that into a dollar value, you put all that rent that they've taken up for free into a dollar value, you'd be wanting to jump into those, acknowledge and accept, and go through those steps as quick as you can without rushing it.
Absolutely. With all the grace and ease of somebody who has all the time in the world.
Worry is just, there's definitely blessings out of worry, but and the blessings would be because you strategize and you look for help when you're actually really down.
Yeah.
But worry also alerts you to the things that are repeating over and over that you may have missed.
Yeah.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. you can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
And so, but worry is an ass. And I say it's an ass because it's, my lad,
well, you did. It's okay. It's our show. It's our show. So we're.
It's A-R-R-R-E-C. It's my accent. But it is because it can really stop you from eating or eating too much. It can, fatten you up, it can thin you down. It can create all sorts in your skin and your hair. And when if you think about people, so let's not look at ourselves, let's look at somebody else.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? When you have a friend or a colleague who is just constantly sitting in worry, what if this happens, and what if this happens, and what if this happens?
Right.
The question is, do you want to be around them? And I can guarantee the answer is no.
Absolutely not.
Even if you're a scientist, even if you're the highest level scientist out there, which I don't even know if there is one, who knows everything about everything, and their best friend's a worrywart.
A worrywart.
Do you think that scientist wants to go and sit with that friend?
Absolutely not.
Even if they have every single answer to what they're saying, no.
Mm-hmm.
So look at the energy that you're putting out as well. If you're worrying about why are people avoiding me, time to look at what you're doing.
Yeah, maybe. But I just thought of something else about worry, about, like somebody that goes, but what about then what if this and what if this? I think
that's I'm just going to say that's different to a kid saying why.
Yes, it is. Yeah, we're not talking about the 2-year-old saying why.
No, but why? Why is the sun that color? Why is it not green? I like green. No, that's different. Okay,
that is different. But it indicates a lack of self-trust, because I believe that we are never in a situation that we cannot deal with. However, sometimes we can't do that in our logical mind. We can't see it immediately in front of us, maybe. But if we trusted ourselves enough to not get into that worry propensity, that if we just kind of go, I know I can deal with this, but it maybe not right now. Maybe I need to just sit and contemplate, or go for a walk, or just focus on my breathing, or put my hand over my heart and just say all is well. And so I can change up my energy, and then maybe all of a sudden somebody calls you or shows up or invites you somewhere or provides that answer that you are now open to, right?
And you're not good. You are going to get little warnings. So it's about being open.
Yes.
So you are going to get little things when you're in there to try and open you up, but you may not see them if you're sitting in that state.
That rocking in the corner state.
Yeah, the rocking in the corner. And and it is that trust. And so I'm a firm believer on gratitude.
Yes.
I'm such a firm believer on gratitude that no matter what state you're in, there's always something to be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what level or how small it is, I'm grateful that it's that I'm going to hang the washing out, and it's probably not going to actually get dry today. That's not one. But as I look outside, is it actually going to actually clear up today? But there's beautiful things to be grateful for.
Absolutely. And
you're grateful that the internet's working. You can listen to this podcast. You're grateful that you're breathing. You're grateful that you're in your home or in your car or whatever. If there's chaos outside, traffic, whatever it is, there's so many things to be grateful for. And when you're grateful, you get more things to be grateful for, and it just keeps rolling. And why would you not want to sit in that space over a 10? Why would you not want to sit close to the 10?
Yes. So a week or so ago, I was having a conversation with a client, and she was complaining about how upset she was, pissed off, in fact, that it was raining again. It had been raining and raining and raining. She was just, so I said to her, I said, well, so what are you grateful for? She's nothing. I'm just really irritated. It keeps raining. It's making me feel so down.
Nothing.
So I said, well, surely there's something. And she said, well, I guess it helps the flowers. I said, yep. And it makes the season last a bit longer because the leaves don't fall off the trees so much. And she's kind of making little attempts at and then I said, but there's no mosquitoes. And that was just
That was her.
that just tickled her funny bone, because then it's almost like that little interjection of humor opened her up to, yeah, actually there's a lot of things to be grateful for.
Yeah, it's when you start, and sometimes you do need the other person to say something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you'll notice that Moira and I use humor a bit, although I use it more and probably in the more inappropriate places than Moira.
I do use it a lot, but I am quite gentle.
Yeah, I had a bit of a disagreement with my partner last night about something I thought was humorous. She didn't. And I kept laughing all night long. She's like, "Are you laughing about that?" No. Yes. It didn't help. And it just was very funny.
To you. Obviously to you.
To me, yeah. And still is, but not cool. But humor and just those little things can break that pattern.
Yeah.
And I know it could be worse. You've heard that saying, it could be worse. Like
Absolutely.
It could be worse. And I remember actually saying, this is a really, I'll say it. And I was talking to a client and I had my headset on and their partner had dabbled outside the relationship. And I said it, not even thinking my daughter could hear my side of the conversation. I said, well, it could be worse. They could have been with, your best friend or your mother or father or, and it was just the most inappropriate but appropriate comment ever. And then the person on the other end of the phone was like, actually, you're right. Yeah, no, it could be way worse. Actually, yeah, I'm truly thankful they didn't do that with my,
right,
mother, father, sister, brother, all that. And then my poor daughter was like, Mum, you can't say things like that. I'm like, yeah, but Sophie, we had to break the ice. I had to say something so extreme to break the ice for them to go, actually, yeah, you're right. It could be worse. It could be worse. And it did just like you said then, there's no mosquitoes. Mm-hmm. It could be way worse. Imagine if the mosquitoes were there.
Yeah.
It was still grotty outside. That would be like, come on. But it is that. It could be worse.
Yeah.
And we've been through crazy stuff before, and we've survived. I think that's the remembering thing.
You've said that before, and that's such an important piece.
Yeah, well, I love to hear the universe is never going to give you something that you're not going to be able to handle.
Yeah.
But you've also been through stuff before.
Yeah.
And you've heard other people go through stuff and you're like, oh, that's never going to happen to me. And it does happen to you and you survive.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you're still here.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that's the interesting one. Yeah. Could be worse.
Could be worse. But I think it's super important too to bring humor in whatever flavor is right for you, because sometimes when we get into this big spiral of irritation and worry, we take ourselves way too seriously. Like, oh, for goodness sake, you're supposed to be having fun. Play, skip, dance. Stop taking yourself so freaking seriously. It's not the end of the world because something's not working out the way you thought it was going to. Maybe that's actually could be the biggest blessing in disguise. You don't know, right?
But the other thing is we don't know what's around the corner.
That's right.
We don't. Well, 2020.
Yeah.
Definitely on a global scale, not just one little country, on a global scale, ripped through the world and made us get really clear about what we want.
Pivot, the year of pivot, right?
Pivot in capitals.
Yes.
And it wasn't capitals with pom-poms, it was capitals and as quick as we could. And then you had to pivot again.
Yeah.
And then again and again. And that 2020 definitely taught us, to survive or not survive or thrive through certain things. It definitely made us look at our bigger picture. And that's a great one because that is definitely, if you're holding on to 2020, that is an irritation. I'm
Yeah.
going to say it now.
Yep,
And
yep, yep,
I don't
absolutely.
like talking about 2020 because we've moved so far from it. But if you are still holding on to 2020 or anything that is just like a bad rash that keeps coming up and getting worse and worse and worse, you really
you gotta rewrite the story. You gotta release it, because it is
and
actually just a story if you're holding on to that. It's 2 years ago,
it's
right?
yeah. Well, it's actually coming up nearly 3 years. That's
Yeah, it is.
Shoot! Oh, that's yeah. But it is, and it is time to rewrite that story, and that is perfect for Moira or I. Reach out to us if you cannot, if you get yourself in that puzzle state. But anything that you do not resolve is just going to get bigger and bigger. And irritation is a scratch. You put your hands down by your side. Think of the Queen's Guards. They're not allowed to scratch their nose, and there's that irritation. All they're focusing on is at the end of their nose, scratching. I want to scratch my nose, but they can't lift their arms up or anything. That's an irritation.
Mm-hmm.
And focus more and more and more on, I just want to scratch my nose. Okay, what am I going to have for dinner? I'm going to think about that. No, I just want to scratch my nose. I must stand here for another 8 hours. Like, that's that irritation of that scratch. And so all you want to do is scratch it. And when you scratch it, you're like, oh, done. Yeah, and the scratch is all of 2 seconds.
Yep.
So don't let that irritation
become a mushroom cloud.
Yeah.
Don't want that exploding. Yeah,
that's the one. but it is. It's, if you do not deal with it, it's just going to escalate.
Absolutely, and that's the key piece. I would use that as one of our wrap-up tips, because we're kind of running out of time here before we recap. But to deal with it in the moment, don't let it escalate. That's very important. Very important. Do you have one last point? Nope.
No, but I will say, don't let it escalate. But if you're going somewhere and you want to, as I scratch my nose, if you're going somewhere and you want to, and you're doing something and you can't deal with it right there and then, prioritize and diarize it.
Yes, make a promise to yourself that I'm going to deal with it at this such and such a time. Sometimes
it's just an inconvenient time, but you must deal with it. Don't go, okay, I'll deal with it in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah, no, you make yourself a note. This is when I'm going to do it, and then you must do it. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Very good. Very good. These have been great tips. So to run through and just recap, and listeners, we'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite tip? And we'd love to hear from you if we forget any of the tips. So starting at the top, of course, and this is our AA, the Deliciously Motivated Mindset AA.
I think we just start everyone off with the same thing because it feels like it. That's what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's acknowledge and accept. So you just acknowledge. We all experience times of irritation and worry. Just acknowledge and accept what's going on, and then see what can you do. Not all the things that you can't, because that's just going to escalate it more, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And what do you have as number 2? Because I've got a few things, and then I missed a few off because I was like, yeah, Moira, that's a good one, and I forgot to write it down.
Well, the next one, I know that you talked about squeaky wheel, but the next one that I wrote down was the don't take things personally.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yep.
So do you want to talk? Do you want to talk about your squeaky wheel? She's trying to make her chair squeak.
Yeah, so don't take things personally. And I loved that Moira said I don't even know if I did it, mine to deal with, surrender. So is this mine to deal with?
Yeah.
And I love that it's actually, don't take things personally. This could be, people don't wake up to being asked ask no questions. Don't know why I'm worried about swearing. People don't wake up to do that every day. No. They're not going to try and take you out. That's not their thing. They've got better things to do. You may think that, so you just can't take things personally when they come your way.
Yeah.
Because it's them just as much as it is you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said. The next part I went into, we were talking about when we were feeling desperate. See, irritation and worry can lead to a sense of desperation. I'm like, oh, I have to take care of this now. But my invitation was to just own it, to acknowledge it, but then see what can you face, what can you step into that inspires you, because that actually changes your energy, changes your vibrational bubble, which actually allows you to attract more things that inspire you and recognize more things around you that inspire you.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's inspiration over desperation. We did a podcast on that. The next one I've got is actually about I've actually got two into this one. I've got inconvenient times and then don't rush it.
Right.
Don't rush any of the steps. So if you don't deal with it, you're going to get it at an inconvenient time. That irritation and worry is going to escalate.
Mm-hmm.
So, but don't rush any steps. Don't try and avoid any steps. Don't try and run away from it. What is it? What you resist persists.
Yep.
And you actually said a yoga quote. I didn't write that down, but I wrote yoga quote. That was a lovely quote.
Oh, that was my friend who's a yoga therapist. She used to say, oh my goodness, I have so little to do and so much time.
I love that. And that's just that reframing. So little to do and so much time. And if you just say that, does that
I know.
It takes you way closer to the 0 than a 10.
Absolutely does. And it gives you, and it makes you grin.
Yeah. I love that. So don't rush any steps. Don't rush any steps. You got the rest of your life. Yes, sure, you don't know when your life's ending.
Yeah, we got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Another tip that I did, and I quoted somebody that I can't remember who said this, but it's one of my favorites to bring up as the acknowledging that everybody and everything is a reflection of what's going on within us. And so what I was inviting us to say is, what is it that's pissing me off about you or about this that I cannot see or recognize within myself? It's actually a really nice journal prompt, if you think about it, right? Just to kind of go deep into telling yourself the truth, getting into what is that guidance there for you?
It's just opening your eyes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Opening your eyes, and you have all the time in the world.
Yes, and also that it allows you to unhook that sense of irritation, right? Because then it's like, well, if I get clear on, oh, it's because it's this, then it's not going to be, spiraling into this irritation type dialogue, things of that nature. Yeah. Yes.
And I've got, so my next one is when we realized that we've been talking about irritation and we forgot about the worry. And Moira said the worry is a lack of self-trust.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you said that, I went, oh, it so is. And it's that, lack of self-trust. And one of the steps I said further on is you've been through this before and you've survived.
Yeah.
Bring it back to that worry. It's a lack of self-trust of you've watched other people survive stuff.
Yep.
You may have handled it differently. You may not have, but you've also been through stuff before, and you're here to tell the tale.
Right. And to always remember with that one, always to remember that you are always, no matter what you experience, you could always have the capacity to deal with it, even if you can't see it right there. Yeah. It's more about surrendering to, I wouldn't be in this situation if I couldn't come through this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The universe doesn't work that way.
No, I love that. And it is that self-trust.
Yep.
Self-trust. Yeah. What's the next one? It must be your turn.
Mine was to have a sense of humor, to develop the capacity to be able to laugh at yourself, to be lighter with yourself, because we do tend to take ourselves way too seriously when we get into this is irritating me, that's pissed me off, and I'm worried about that, and where's the sense of humor and sense of play and finding your joy? Where's the fun? Absolutely.
And you'll notice that more, and I love that. Yep. And so the next one I've got is gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
In my squeaky chair.
Gratitude for her squeaky chair.
Gratitude, and it could be worse. Have gratitude for those moments.
Yeah.
And those moments that you haven't experienced, and those moments you have experienced, whether you've witnessed them yourself, seen, heard, or experienced yourself. Mm-hmm. Have gratitude for them, and knowing it could be worse.
Yep. Yep. And knowing that no matter what you're going through, there is always something to be grateful for. Yeah. So my last one is to pay attention to the stories you tell yourself. Like when we were what we were talking about is if you're stuck on, oh, that was the worst year ever. 2020 was the worst year ever, and really attached to it with the irritation. It's time to rewrite the story. And if you have issues rewriting your story that's causing you irritation or worry, reach out for help. Reach out to us, reach out to your healers, to your therapist, to whoever can. Basically reach out to us. Yeah. We can help you rewire those neural pathways.
Yeah, and it's actually painless.
Yes.
It's painless. I'm going to literally say it's painless.
Absolutely.
When you rewrite it. When going through that process with Moira, it's painless. And the end result is painless.
Calmness, harmony, balance, feeling zen, feeling peaceful, feeling aligned with your core essence. That's the result.
Yeah. Painless.
It's
painless. But it is. But that's what we're here for, and that's the rewrite the story and reframing is just a massive shift in your shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's all I had. Did I miss something?
No,
that's it. We've done it. It's been I loved all the different pieces and places we went to with this one.
And we went everywhere.
And
then there's probably way more to do as well.
Oh, I'm sure. We probably could come back and do another one on this one at some point.
We could just do one on irritation and one on worry.
Yeah, I realized that as we were halfway through and like, oh, look, we're really focusing on irritation.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah. Oh, irritation and worry go hand in hand. Totally.
Well, they do. They actually escalate one another, right? Yeah. You get irritated and then you get worried because you're irritated and then they just beget each other.
I'll actually add another one in is don't worry what others. Oh yeah, that's it. Don't worry what others think.
Yeah, other people's opinion of you is none of your business.
Yeah,
totally.
And actually, because that's a worry thing that people go, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I said that. So make yourself sleep. Don't worry about other people's. That's their stuff. Yep. We sort of brought that into don't take things personally, but definitely other people's opinions are apart from ours.
Yes, of course. Got it. So, dear listeners, we'd love to hear what was your favorite tip and did we miss any? And we're going to do our little check-in. We'd love to hear from you. Where were you to begin with? What happened to you at the midway point of our conversation? And where are you now? And where are you, Deb? You were at a 1.5 to begin.
I was a 1.5. I'm going to say I'm a 0.5. And the reason I'm not a 0 is because I feel there's a few things that are bubbling in my head.
Okay.
So I'm going to take accountability to those today and
deal with those.
Yeah, and I'm going to hit number 1, acknowledge and accept it. That's how we're going to start it. So that's why I've acknowledged and accepted and gone to 0.5.
Very good. Very good. So I started at a 2, and I'm going to say that I am at a 0.5 because I still have a few things that I need to jump into. And to your point, it's acknowledge and accept that, I'm not quite there on a 0, and I'm okay with that. It's just the way things are.
That's so funny you're that as well. And before we did hit record, she was a 7.
I was.
I think I would have been a 10. She was a lot calmer than me. She was a 7.
Yep, and that's how it goes. It goes.
And yeah, exactly. Something bang can happen very quickly and
Yep. So, dear listeners, we trust you got some great tips and some good value. And if you liked this, your next step is to share it. Share it with your colleagues and your friends and your peers and your loved ones and your not loved ones. Anybody you think could do with a little bit of inspiration to release irritation and worry.
Anyone who's irritating you, share it with them.
Yeah, they might learn something too.
Put the Band-Aid off.
All right, dear Deb, this has been fun. This has been a really good conversation. I loved it. I've always loved these deliciously motivated mindset podcast episodes. So this is us signing off. Thank you very much, dear Deb.
Thank you very much, Moira and listeners and internet.
Internet, and thank you, dear listeners, and we'll be back with you again next week. Take care. Bye.
Bye.